if you are fed up like I am to hear reviews where they say 20mm is wider than 24, but f2.8 is faster than f4, well, you're in the right place, because today we're going to talk about the use case for those two glasses, and we decide together which one is a keeper and which one will have to go. Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thomas Love here from One Lens Only, and today, well, I think we have some echo problem because I changed location for this episode, and let's see if we can make it work. I'm changing the lights and I'm recording with my action cam today because I want to show you actual footage, but I also want to show you the comparison between those two glasses. One is the Sigma 24-70 f2.8 Art Mark II, the other one is the Sony 20-70 f4G. And so, which is the doubt that I'm having? Because one of those two will have to stay and will be my new one lens only, and the other one will have to go because there's overlap also in the focal range that they have, 24-70 and 20-70. But the very first question you need to ask yourself, if you are thinking about buying either of these two glasses, is what will I use it for? So if the answer is weddings, then it's a no-brainer. Go with the Sigma 24-70 f2.8, not because it's a better glass when it comes down to image quality. This one is very sharp and defined as well, but because lately with weddings, everybody, they are all used to having this smooth transition from the in-focus elements to the creamy bokeh in the background, and so you will need a wider and a faster aperture. The f2.8 will give you that creamy effect. So if you're shooting wedding, go with the Sigma. Why should you consider going with the Sony instead? Well, first, I have to say, I've been using the Sigma for months right now. I never had a complaint. It's a great image quality. I like the rendering. It covers perfectly the full frame of my Sony. And also the autofocus is fast and accurate. So I have no complaints at all for this glass. It has a few commands. You can click the F aperture, and you can have it in manual, or you can set it in automatic if you want to manage it from the front wheel on your camera. This is the Sony version. There's also an L mount version of the very same glass, and so optically it's great. It's a version 2. It has a great rendering, the white balancing is fine, the autofocus is accurate, you have buttons, function buttons here and there, and you have the autofocus to manual focus switch, which I use from time to time if I have to shoot rings for my proposals. And I love the fact that it's weather sealed and it comes in one single barrel extension, while other glasses, they have two different segments, so meaning more gaskets to consider and potentially more dust gathered. The construction is great. It's plasticky, but this plastic, when it's shiny, it's kind of metal. It's very strong, and then you have the good grip for the autofocus and for the zoom extension. And it covers a focal range which is the most common. So if you're shooting portraits, you have a bit of compression. Of course, I used also the 28-105, which had more compression, and I loved. Basically, I went from the 28-105 to the 24-70 because I needed those 4mm extended on the wide side, and also because it's lighter. The other one was almost a kilo in weight. Now, bear with me for a sec because I want to put it down so I don't risk damaging it. Why I ended up also purchasing this teeny tiny, I mean, it's not a teeny tiny glass, but it's smaller compared to the other one, and it's also lighter. I think 200-300 grams lighter compared to the Sigma. Because, well, first, this comes in a single barrel extension as well, so this is great. And for this one, I also had the magnetic cap and the magnetic CPL, and then I will adapt the ND filter for videos, but that's a different thing. Let's talk first about this glass. Why do we have the need for this glass? Because you know me, I'm a one lens only, and so since I shoot most of the times portraits, but also some other kind of photography, I ended up considering changing glass rather than changing camera. The two main limitations from my camera are that it crops in with an APS-C crop, whether I'm using the active state for video or if I'm switching to 60 frames per second in 4K. And so the 24mm becomes a 35, which is a bit too tight for vlogging and for other kind of recording. And also 24mm, it's a bit too tight to shoot interiors. I have a long story of shooting interiors. When I was in Vancouver, I was borrowing the bodies 18mm from a friend of mine with great satisfaction. But since I don't want to add glasses here and there, because I hate changing glasses, I'm just thinking about this might be the great solution because I have 20mm to shoot interiors, and so it will match my workflow completely. And I also have the 70mm for some bit of compression when I'm shooting portraits. Now, of course, it's not as fast as the other one, but I realized that I almost never shoot wide open because f2.8, while it's great for smoothly bokeh portraits, and I will use the Sigma before selling it for a wedding that I'm recording and I'm shooting in a couple days. But apart from weddings, I realized that all the other clients that I have that want to shoot engagement proposals here on Lake Como, they also want to see the lake. So if I'm shooting compressed, wide open, and f2.8, that will have this beautiful bokeh effect, but they will not be able to show off that they are on Como Lake. And so I have to close down most of the times. And I'm used to shoot because um, I used to shoot street photography. I'm always going for f5.6, f8, so it's fine. It's already in my workflow. I know how to manage rather. And so I just realized that I'm going around with a bigger and more expensive glass for no reason because I'm never giving it a valid way of enhancing the image quality with that f2.8 wide aperture. And so I tried this glass already when I was in Vancouver because I had it borrowed. I could borrow it from a friend of mine. And if you missed the episode, please find it up here. I remember that I thought that this was already resolving the image with a great image quality and f4 already. So f4, it's already sharp and defined. What is not to like? So if you start to using it at f4 and it's already sharp and defined, well, you don't have to close down, while other glasses such as the Sigma, they start at f2.8, but if you want to have it really, really sharp, you need to close down at least to f4. And so it's basically the same thing. Time will tell if I will regret it or not. This one as well, you can have the iris lock, which is fine because now I locked it in automatic because when I was shooting with my Leica, I was used to have everything manual, the ISO, the shutter speed, and the f aperture, while this one, I'm so used to having the front and the rear wheel on my camera that I don't need to move the iris, and you lock it in automatic also so you avoid moving it by chance. And so click it or declick it, you can do it on and off. Eventually, it's quite stiff to move it. So for video recording, this might help as well. I will use a variable ND filter adapted in front of it. I had the ND filter for the 82mm for the Sigma. I will use the adapter so it's bigger and I will not have any vignetting when I'm recording video. The build quality is good. It's I don't know what kind of plastic this is, but it seems solid. The zoom is smooth. The autofocus ring, it's very, very soft moving it, and it's infinite. So stay tuned because today I will download the software update for this glass. We will update it together. We will see what it changes, if I can manage and put some function button over those two, which I normally use to hold the focus, but maybe I can use it to have a switch from the AF with the eye recognition to the regular AF when I'm shooting the ring. Let's see together what we can do with this glass. And stay tuned because I'm recording a new series which is called A Day in the Making. It will start with the behind the scene for the wedding, and then we will have a behind the scene for the interior photography, whether it is HDR or ambient. I will have a couple tutorials, and then we will have a day in the making for engagement proposals. So guys, stay tuned because we will test those two glasses even further to decide which one has to stay and which one has to go. But let's now switch to each one of those two. So I will show you the difference in the image quality and also the additional wide 20 mil that we have, and we can shoot on this one. We are still on my action cam, so if you see everything in focus, this is the reason why. So this is now being recorded on the Sigma. We are at f2.8. All the other settings, the white balancing, the shutter speed are not changed. And so let me know if the image quality is good and the autofocusing seems to be quite correct. I need to move the light accordingly, otherwise the color on my skin will change too much. Okay, so this is the Sigma at f2.8. I zoomed in at 50 mil because I wanted to have a bit more compression to show you why we're switching now to the Sony at 20 mil at f4, whether we have more or less subject separation from the background. Both glasses have 3D pop, so I'm quite pleased with both results. And here we are now on the Sony at 20 mil f4. I had to move the light closer because, of course, f4 it's not as fast as the other glass, but I think that the focusing distance is still good. You will see some distortions if I stay very close because 20 mil it's plenty wide, but I have to say that this glass will have, I did not activate it yet, the distortion correction, so you will see always straight lines. It has a bit of a zoom in to do so, but it corrects anyway in camera already for videos and for photos if you're shooting JPEG. So I have to say native glasses on Sony cameras always perform better. This doesn't have any OSS. I was questioning whether I needed to go for the 24 to 105 f4 because it has OSS, but still that would not be as wide as I needed to shoot interior. So I think this 20 to 70 was a first choice if we want to have one lens only. Then you can feel free to add many more primes if you have specific needs, but if you want to do everything with just one glass, this might be the right solution, at least for my workflow. So with that, I hope you got some value out of this video. If you did, please remember to like it, share it on your social media, subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any videos to come, and I guess I will see you later. Thanks. Bye-bye.